Clive, you starting?
Yes, we'll make a start then. So the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. But David Chaplin, he'll be apologising as he can't gain access. Is there anyone else? Everyone else is present, I think. Are they? Yes.
Can I ask you, Chair, if Councillor Chaplin is admitted now shortly, will that, and you've already started, will that exclude him from voting?
Well, provided he arrives before the item commences, Clive, he will be able to vote.
Yes.
He just has to hear the whole item, doesn't he?
Next item on the agenda.
Chair, I mean,
yeah.
I'm just wondering, Chair, whether you actually read out the bit in relation to Teams meetings, just so that everyone's perfectly clear.
Oh. Right, you are. Have you got it handy yourself to read out?
No, Chair, because I thought you were doing it. You read it out last time.
Yes, just a second. As we've had so many meetings now, I assumed everyone would.
Yeah. I think everyone's fully conversant with it, Chair. It's just the issue that Councillor Chaplin hasn't arrived yet.
Yes. Yes, I can't.
Well, all right then. If I recap the basic points, in order to take part in the vote, you have to be present for the whole of the item. If you actually lose contact or connection during the item, it's a matter for your discretion as to whether you vote or not.
Yeah.
Chair, can I suggest, as it's a public meeting and it has gone 5 o'clock, that we should start the meeting?
Perhaps we should start, really. There's still a few minutes. So the second item on the agenda are declarations of interest. Are there any?
Yeah, Chair. Yeah, if you look at page 7 of the agenda, you see there that the Merthyr Tydfil Heritage Trust Limited have sent a letter. Now, I'm not a trust. I'm not a member of the trust, but I am a member of the council. I'm a council representative member of the Merthyr Heritage Trust. So I really don't know whether I should declare an interest.
My understanding, Chair, is that would have been dealt with in Standards Committee and you would have been granted the dispensation.
Okay.
Okay, the same applies to me, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's okay, I'll stay where I am.
Right. Well, it's 5:05 now, so so I think we should make a start now.
David's in now, Chair.
Yes, David Chapman. I just noticed he's come on. Yes. So we'll make a start. Next item on the agenda, item 3, is the planning application P200199, the former St Tydfil's Hospital site up at Thomas Street, Merthyr Tydfil. I think Hugh's going to take us through the report.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this application is for residential development consisting of the conversion and extension to a listed building to create 7 apartments and a dwelling, construction of 62 dwellings, including 31 affordable units, the demolition of the existing buildings, landscaping, reprofile on the land, alterations to the existing access, and other associated works. You can see the on your screens now. Hopefully, you can see the application site outlined in red. You can see the listed building to the front of the site in the southwest corner. All the green annotations on that map are buildings or walls to be demolished. So there it is, an aerial view of the site. As you can see, there's quite a lot, and I'll show you a video later of quite a lot of demolition has taken place on the site, which many of you will know, which has left piles of rubble and hardcore along the majority of the site. but the listed building is still intact at the front of the site with a southern wing attached to it, which we'll show in the photographs as well. So yeah, top left-hand photograph is the listed building straight in front of you, and if you can see on the left-hand side, there's also a listed statue, which is highlighted in the report on the left-hand side of that picture. On the right-hand side picture, there's the southern wing, and although it's attached to the listed building, it's not listed in its own right, that section of the building. But as you can see from those photographs, both the listed building and the attached building have fallen into somewhat of a disrepair, and is being utilised by those that shouldn't be in the building and causing damage to it at the moment. The bottom photograph shows the entrance into the site. It is proposed to widen and amend this entrance into the site to enable suitable access for cars to enter and leave the site with suitable visibility displays. So the left-hand side picture, that's a picture of Upper Thomas Street, and the application site entrance is at the top of the photograph on the right-hand side. The other picture shows Urban Street. That building in front of you there, which hasn't got a roof on, has only got timbers of the roof, is what is referred to in the report as the manager's house. It's currently a listed building which is to be demolished as part of the proposal. As you can see, it's in a poor state of repair. It's even worse the other side when you look at it. But yeah, that building is to be demolished to take the place of housing. Yeah, I think this is the video of the site. You can see Taffel Court there as we're going around. There's the in front of you with the green space there. That's the old cemetery site, which is now an open space. There's the listed building. As you're going around, you can see the amount of rubble on the site. And as we're turning 360, you can see the steepness of the site. And up on your right-hand side there is an area where there's proposed to be a biodiversity area. So basically, as a result of the application, there's been.
Oh, we seem to have technical problems here. Your microphone is muted.
We've lost the screen sharing as well, Hugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Okay.
Someone else pressed the button.
Oh.
Yeah, that's back.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Someone must have pressed the share button or something as we go through. So yeah, that's the layout of the site there outlined. You can see the listed building is to remain in the bottom left-hand corner of the site. The southern wing is to be demolished to make way for the main access road through the site, which, as you can see, is a straight line through the site with a loop at the top and a loop outside the listed buildings, with all then houses and residential units then fronting onto the main highway. On the western boundary of the site, which sticks out finger-like projection in the western corner there, you can see a green space there. That green space is a biodiversity area which is being put forward as part of this application. That area of the site is probably, you may not have caught, but on the video, it's an extremely steep rise from the proposed road to that site. And it really wasn't developable for any other purpose other than to leave it for biodiversity interests, which was the best use of the site. You can see the properties as well front onto the old cholera site, which is now an open space. This has two benefits really. One of the benefits is that it's a good outlook for the properties from the front elevation, and it introduces that site, if you like, into the site a little bit more. The second point is it gives that site a little bit more surveillance in terms of overlooking. So it then brings it back into the urban environment, where it's a little bit at the back of houses at the moment. So there's a number of positives to the development in that respect. There's also sustainable urban drainage systems that are going into the site. You can probably make out the darker green colour at the adjacent to the northern boundary, adjacent to Taffvale Court. That's a sustainable urban drainage system, and also along the the western boundary, the eastern boundary of the open space as well. There's a sustainable urban drainage system there, as well as in the gardens of the properties. There's facilities called rain gardens, which basically soak up rainwater in a sustainable manner in the front of the gardens. Overall, the layout of the design is considered acceptable and would provide a superb open space to the centre of it, and also biodiversity area, but also an area which provides 31 affordable housing units and 39 open market units. The layout of the site, as I said, is acceptable. The design of houses is also acceptable. It's a brownfield derelict site in a sustainable location, and therefore, in principle, the application's proposal is acceptable. There haven't been, as I said previously, there hasn't been any objections to the proposal following the publicity exercise undertaken. However, there has been a letter from Merthyr Tydfil Heritage Trust, which highlights that they welcome the conversion and extension of the listed building, and raise some concerns which are summarised on pages 7 and 8 of the report. There's no objection from the consultation exercises undertaken. In essence, the brownfield derelict site is allocated in the recently adopted replacement local development plan for residential development. Therefore, the principle of residential development, which provides much needed housing for the county borough, is acceptable. It would also ensure the long-term use and sympathetic conversion of the listed building that would secure its survival. It should also be noted that 44% of the housing would be affordable. This figure is well above the 10% required by policy SW2 of the LDP, and provide an essential contribution to the housing needs of the immediate and wider locality. The design of the property's layout of the site and the strategic landscaping and biodiversity reserve would result in a quality space that is well connected to the existing community. Yeah, just on the presentation as well, there's a couple of examples. The top example is the listed building as converted and extended. You can see a small extension to the side of it, which is a setback from the main principal elevation of the listed building, which is both subservient and suitable in terms of its design. The bottom left-hand terrace is a terrace within the site, and another example of a detached property on the right-hand side of the bottom corner. I think that's it in terms of the slides. Yeah, thanks, Dave. So, in summary, the application is recommended for permission, subject to the conditions highlighted on pages 14 to 20 of the report. Thanks, Chair.
Oh, thanks, Hugh. Councillor Jones has got a question.
Thank you, Chair. I've got more than one question. There's an echo here. Are other people's microphones on? Thank you. On page, just before I ask my other questions, it obviously seems an obvious question, but the archway leading into the existing site, looking at the photographs, just to confirm, that archway has been taken down or going to be taken down, and there'll be sufficient room for traffic to go both ways in and out of the site?
Yeah, the archway is to be demolished. As I said, that's not part of the listed building itself. It's just to attach to the listed building. There's a 5.5 metre carriageway going through the site with a 2 metre footpath inside. So the carriageway is to adoptable standards through that site, yes.
So obviously that means that the two-way traffic in and out is not a problem.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Chair, can I take you first of all to page 5? And it's the 4th paragraph down. and there's a table there detailing the type of properties that are going to be built there. But unless I've missed it, having read the report, I can't see anywhere where it's listed as to what these properties, how many bedrooms they have. 1, 2, or 3 bedroom. I think I've seen the flats there somewhere, but I couldn't see the number of bedrooms for the houses. It just refers to 2-story.
Yeah, you're probably right, Councillor Jones. Yes, it isn't highlighted in the report. Obviously, it's on the plans that were submitted with the application, what the bedroom numbers are. So do you want me to go through them, or? Well,
if you've got a short summary of, for example, how many 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, etc.
Okay, so there's 14 one-bed flats. There's two-bed bungalows. There's 1 2-bed bungalow. There's 8 2-bed houses. There's 4 3-bed houses. There's 4 4-bed houses for the social rented side. On the open market side, there's 6 2-bed houses, 15 3-bed houses, 6 3-bed, another different house type, 6 3-bed house, a different house type again, 4 3-bed house. There's 1 2-bed cottage, and there's 7 flat conversions. 2-bed.
Thank you. I made a list of there, which you read out very quickly, but obviously there's a variety of different size bedroom properties on the site, which is good.
Councillor Jones, you've muted at the moment.
I beg your pardon. Can I take you to page 7, please? And under the heading consultation, the environmental health manager, and I quote, says, no objection, subject to conditions. Having read the remainder of the report, am I right in saying that she's listed conditions there because of the likelihood of asbestos or anything else that could be found on the site? Is that the reason for her stating subject to conditions?
Yeah, absolutely, Councillor Jones. There's a number of conditions with regard to contamination that was requested both from the environmental health manager and also Natural Resources Wales.
Okay, thank you. And on the same page, I note the letter from the Merthyr Tydfil Heritage Trust. And the 1, 2, 3, 4th dot down states the property on the eastern side of the listed building should be deleted. Park open space should be provided in its place. The car park into the north of the listed building should be reduced in size so that extra garden area can't be provided. Could I ask Hugh Roberts what the answer is to that question about that property to the eastern side of the listed building being deleted?
Yeah, we considered the comments and didn't think it was necessary to delete that building from that side. There's suitable separation between the listed building and the houses in that location. Actually, it's a vast improvement on the current situation. Obviously, what's there doesn't have any impact. Well, it has an impact on the setting, but no detrimental impact on the setting of the listed building, and therefore the layout and the design works well as submitted. It's a result. The layout of the site is a result of many months of negotiation with the developers to get a suitable layout for the site. I must admit, I don't agree with those comments. And there are suitable amenity spaces for the flats, the other side of the car parking spaces as well. So yeah, take those comments on board, but unfortunately I don't agree with them. The layout is suitable as it is and has a respectful impact on the setting of the listed building.
Thank you. And staying on the same part of the report there, under that heading, it says, and you have touched upon it in your introduction to the report, but it says there, concern that the layout does not meet the placemaking aspirations of the local development plan. Can you perhaps explain to all of us exactly what they're referring to in the aspect of placemaking?
Yeah, I mean, I can only assume they're referring to, again, the layout of the site and how it interacts with the surrounding areas and what's provided on site. I think, again, I totally disagree with their comments. The site has been designed in a way that provides not only respects the section of the listed building, but also taking the constraints of the site into account. It provides an area which is well overlooked to all open spaces in that area. It's well laid out, suitable garden spaces. There's easy access to the town centre. There's suitable car parking spaces for the amount of cars on the site. There's active frontages to all the main highways into the site. The design of the houses have taken into consideration all the character and appearance of the surrounding area. There's a SUD scheme on the site. There's numerous ecological enhancements on the site as well. It ticks every box in terms of the policies in the local development plan, and also provides a much needed development in a highly sustainable location, which obviously converts the existing building, which, as we all know, is in dire need of conversion. So I don't understand their objection in terms of placemaking, because I think, in my opinion, it ticks all the boxes that it can. It's not an easy site to develop, and as you can imagine, with the listed building, the existing materials on the site is quite a difficult shape as well. The gradients of the site are difficult towards one side of it. So I think it's a superb example of how you can develop a site in a way that, as you say, Councillor Jones, can give you a mixture of housing in a much needed area, which would be so much beneficial to that area and the surrounding character and appearance of the site.
Thank you very much. I got two last questions. On page 13, and it's the fourth paragraph down, last sentence. It reads there, the gas boilers would also be highly efficient, and the construction methods used would improve air tightness and reduce thermal bridges, i.e. prevent hot air exiting and cold air entering the properties. Could you answer my question in relation to heat pumps? Because as I understand it, at least certainly the UK government are saying that heat pumps should be installed in every, certainly domestic property, in 9 years' time. So was this a matter that was considered between the developers and yourself?
No, it didn't form any part of the discussions with the developers in respect of heat pumps on the site. No, it's the question is obviously the dwellings have to be built to current building regulation standards, which are in terms of energy efficiency are obviously have to meet those standards. So I think that sentence there just reiterates what's required from a building regulations point of view.
So just to follow that, Chair, we can have applications to the planning department and perhaps come into the planning committee between now and 2029, where there's no mention of heat pumps as part of the application. Is that correct?
As far as I'm aware, there's no policy in the local development plan that requires any heat pumps to be provided with any application. There's obviously a policy which encourages sustainable forms of development and energy efficient development, but there's no specific requirement to provide any heat pumps in any dwellings at this time. Although, as I said, there is an encouragement to provide energy efficient housing.
And you also mentioned somewhere in the report that this application is subject to listed building consent. Do I take it that would be the subject of a further report to planning, sometime during the construction of the housing?
No, it doesn't have to be reported to the planning committee unless it's called in. It's a delegated matter to deal with the listed building, and indeed the final decision with regard to the listed building application rests with CADU. So yeah, it's a delegated matter that can be dealt with by the chief officer, but it needs to be reported to CADU to get a final sign off on it anyway. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman, very much.
Okay. David Chaplin's got a question next. I think he was next.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. You mentioned the open space biodiversity area. Long term, who would be responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of that area?
Yeah, that will be the owner of the site.
Okay, thank you. Number two, in the report, it mentions that obviously the runoff drain water and etc. can't enter the system because they're using a SUDS system, which is obviously in line with as it should be. Is there a maximum capacity that the SUDS system can take? Because obviously we're having a lot of heavy periods of rain. Is that in danger of ever being breached?
Well, the actual, I'm not sure you're aware, but there is a subsequent application that needs to be submitted to our Sustainable Urban Drainage section called a SUDS application that needs to be submitted, and all those details with regard to whether there's capacity to take that water and whether the systems put in place are adequate to take that water is something that would be considered under a separate application to them to consider. The principle is okay in terms of planning. The greater detail then is approved by the Sustainable Urban Drainage Board.
Okay, thank you. My final question, obviously there are a lot of conditions with this application. I don't think we've got an enforcement officer. What steps do we take to make sure all these conditions are met?
Well, we've got two enforcement planning officers. They're both part-time, so we've got one equivalent enforcement officer. So yeah, we obviously monitor applications in terms of when they commence, and work quite very closely with our building control department, the commencement applications. So it's a monitoring process that we carry out on all applications in terms of the conditions.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, John Thomas has got a question next. John?
Yep, thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's just two questions, Hugh. The first one is on page 4, and it relates to the rear stairway of the listed building. Now, looking back years ago when it was a hospital, I think that was used as a fire escape. And with that being like 3 stories, is that going to be replaced with a new fire escape, or is it sufficient ways of getting out if there is a fire or anything?
Yeah, there's only 3 stories in part of the building. The other, where the main gable you saw on the photographs earlier on, there's a flat in the story there, but they're all accessed via an internal access route. As far as I'm aware, it's a building regulations issue, fire escape. But as far as I'm aware, there's no need for an external fire escape. It can all be done internally in terms of the building. But again, that's a building regulations issue. Obviously, if any other escape is required, that would be subject to further applications. But as far as I'm aware, the access is suitable internally to carry out those operations in such times.
Thanks, Hugh, for that. The second one then comes under the publicity on page 6, and it's the 3rd dot down. The restoration of the listed building should be at the start of the development. The Lord Merthyr statue should remain in situ. And there should be a garden area included in the forecourt and no parking in front of the listed building. Have these been addressed, please? And if so, can you give the members any answers which have come from it?
Yeah, let me just get the points that, sorry, my files all over the place here. Did you say page 6? Sorry, it wasn't page 6, was it?
Sorry, yeah, page 6 under publicity.
Publicity is on
All
page
right,
7
sorry.
of the report.
Sorry, that's my page 7.
That's on 7, is it? Sorry, my fault.
And bullet point
Just
4,
under-
you said. Bullet point 4 is Mr. Thomas, was it?
Third dot down.
Right, okay.
A couple of issues there.
Okay, so there is a condition which is recommended with regard to the commencement and completion of the listed building, which is condition... condition 4, recommended condition 4 says prior to the occupation of the 30th residential unit, the listed building should be completed. So there is a condition that controls when that listed building has to be completed. I think it's highly unreasonable to request the listed building is completed first part of the development, because obviously there's stacks of work to be done in terms of demolition, tidying up the site and X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I thought it was that was a reasonable time period to get some dwellings completed and then the listed building completed. The statue will remain in situ. It's there at the moment. And in terms of a garden to the front of it, I'm sure you can appreciate from the photographs that were taken that there is currently a huge amount of parking in front of the listed building, which has which would have, which carry on unless this development were to permit it. What this development does is it does actually take the road away from the listed building and provides a little bit more space for the statue. So in terms of that, there's actually a huge enhancement in terms of the impact on the second listed building. So whilst the comments are noted, again, I'm afraid I don't agree with them.
Yeah, thanks for that, Hugh. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Kevin Gibbs has got wants to ask a question next. Kevin?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Chair. Obviously, with this now, we're looking at 70 residential properties, and I know there's issues with residential parking outside on the main road, albeit this is way set back. I was just wondering, Chair, how many actual parking spaces are there in total for the 70 residential properties?
It's a very good question, and I haven't counted them all, but what I can tell you is that there's at least 2 car parking spaces for each 2 or 3 bedroom dwellings and 4 bedroom dwellings, and there'll be 1 car parking space for each 1 bedroom flat. So in terms of the guidance in terms of car parking, there's more than sufficient car parking on the site to cater for the number of units we've got. I think we also have to recognise that the site is in a highly sustainable location. It's really close to the town centre, new bus station, train station, with metro coming forward as well, more trains per hour. So you couldn't get a more sustainable location than this is. And likewise, we have to take into account the benefits of the scheme as well in terms of bringing the listed building back into use, brownfield site back into use, and decontaminating the site by providing this development on the site as well. So even if there was a lack of car parking spaces which is not on this site, it's in such a highly sustainable location that actually, should we be asking for as many car parking spaces as we want on the site? But there are sufficient car parking spaces on the site to cater for the number of dwellings on there.
Thank you, Hugh. And that was my point. I just wanted to make sure there was sufficient on site, because, like you say, even though it is close to the station, the railway station, the new metro coming, people still use cars at the end of the day, however close proximity they are to these conveniences. So thank you for your answer on that, Chair. And yeah, totally agree. This is a needed application. for this site, because this site has been left for rack and ruin for donkey's years. So anything that happens here is going to improve it. I just got two further questions. I'm just finding the part now. Now, at one point you say there's 31 affordable homes and 31 to go out on the open market. How will the 31 affordable homes be filled? Will it be through a housing association, or how will the affordable housing work on this?
Yeah, basically the development is a joint venture between the RSL and the developer.
Okay.
So it's all, the RSL has been involved with the application from day one and has recognised the need in the area, and therefore the layout of the site and also the units on the site are specifically required from an RSL point of view. So they've been involved with the site from day one, and it is going to be a joint venture development.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Ewan. And I did notice specifically on the affordable housing that there is a good mix of cottages, flats, and houses there. So I really welcome that coming forward. My last question then here is, it obviously there's a substantial development site. Have we considered taking any Section 106 or something like that?
Yeah, obviously the affordable housing element of it, again, is the condition on the application to ensure they are affordable housing units going forward as well. So can't be changed to open market housing. In terms of Section 106 agreements, obviously SIL is in place in Merthyr Tydfil, so that will go towards money from the SIL on the open market housing will go towards strategic developments within Merthyr Tydfil. There isn't any other requirement from a Section 106 point of view on this site. Obviously the biodiversity area as well is being created, which is also part of a condition, and the long-term maintenance and improvement of that is set down in a maintenance schedule, but also the responsibility of the developer. So there isn't any need for any further Section 106 agreements on this site.
Okay, but there will be a SIL, yes, Hugh?
Yeah, there'll be SIL on the housing. Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Because I couldn't see anything in the report with regards to that. So thank you very much. That's all my questions, Chair. Thank you.
John Thomas. Oh, you're still on mute, John.
There we are.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
okay, yes.
Sorry, one more question slipped my mind. With regard to the bungalows, are they just normal bungalows or are they disabled bungalows as well?
That question I don't know, to be honest with you. They are the bungalows are part of the site where the RSL will be developing, so they are probably specifically designed to cater for the needs of people they've got in mind in terms of those bungalow types. So yeah, but as anything, they've got to be designed to building regulations as well. So they've got to be that level of detail in terms of disabled access and so on and so forth from a building regulation point of view.
Great, thank you, Hugh. Cheers.
Are there any other questions? I can't see any hands. Are there any comments? Oh, Councillor Colburn, Malcolm? You're still on mute,
yes,
Malcolm.
yeah. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I agree with what Councillor Gibbs said earlier. This is a much needed redevelopment of a key site in the town, bringing the site back into use. I'm particularly pleased to see the 14, I think Q said, one-bedroom flats, which is a much needed type of accommodation in the town. So I'm quite happy to move the recommendation when the time comes, Chair.
Thanks. Councillor Johns? Clive Jones, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, I reiterate the remarks that Councillor Colburn has just made. This is a site where the hospital buildings were demolished several years ago now. And I also believe that this development is long overdue, particularly with the site having a variety of 70 units of new accommodation, which is very much needed, certainly because of the high demand for housing, and especially new housing in Merthyr Tydfil. I also warmly welcome the fact that the application has 31 affordable units of much needed accommodation. And also the site has merit because it is in town and it is close to several facilities, not only the shopping centre, but as it states in the report, in proximity, close proximity to schools and the college. Thank you.
Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, being the local independent town ward councillor, and along with my fellow colleagues, Councillor Andrew Barry and Councillor Kevin O'Neill, we welcome this development with open arms. This site has been derelict for a number of years and has caused us many headaches with antisocial behaviour, etc. And the news of this development is well overdue. We just therefore hope the development begins ASAP and doesn't linger like it has over the past 2 years. Thank you.
Thanks. Does anyone else want to make a comment? Clive's is a legacy hand, I expect. Is he? Yeah. So if there's no other comments, would someone like to propose? Oh, the motion is that the application be approved.
Yes, I'll move that, Chair.
Chair. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Clive. Chair.
Well, if we put that to the vote, we do it in reverse order that we usually do. Are there any abstentions? There's no abstentions. Is there anyone against the motion? No. So all those in favour, raise their hands. I think that's carried unanimously.
Yes, Chair.
Yes, okay, well, thank you very much. So that's been approved, that application. The next item on the agenda, item 4, is just an information report, an appeal received. Item number 5 is a delegated report. It's surprising how many decisions have been made in the past month or two. It's quite a number of items. And item number 6, I've not got any other business deemed urgent. Has anyone else got any urgent business? No. Oh, in that case, we declare the meeting closed then. Thanks for all coming. Hope you all have a nice Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas
Thank
all.
you, Chair. Same to everyone.
Merry Christmas all.
Nadolig llawen blwyddyn newydd dda.
Hugh, can I have a good
Ernie.
after the meeting?
Okay, thanks.
That's easy for you to say, Ernie.
No, that's
See
the
you
first
folks.
the first